morning, 11:30 on the clock. It's time for Market Fatafat, your crisp and comprehensive wrap of the stocks that are moving the markets today in trade and where exactly and what exactly are the trends looking like. Our team of researchers are joining in, and we also have Rajesh Palvia of Axis Securities. Thanks so much to all of you, and let's without any further ado kickstart our countdown with the very first stock being a crude sensitive, and that is an aviation company, Interglobe Aviation. Do remember, Brent prices have cracked more than 5% overnight, dwindling down to $56 per barrel on the Brent. The WTI2 has sustained below the $50 per barrel level, and you are seeing the impact come by on a big crude consumer, and that is aviation names. This oil crack is certainly something that aviation companies would benefit from. Yields as well are expected to improve. We just had a discussion on the market earlier as well with respect to rising yields, with respect to passenger data as well. So these aviation companies are certainly in a firm footing. NBFCs, meantime, lots of positives coming in from there, whether it's with respect to the way bond yields are moving, and of course even the liquidity push that has come by from the RBI, which is causing NBFCs to move forward in trade today. Kunal, what are your observations? L&T Finance.
So I think the stock is on a very strong footing. The volume patterns have been extremely positive for L&T Finance. Stock at a fresh swing breakout, and the chart patterns mirroring the last 3 months are extremely positive for the stock. Now, one of the hurdles, which on technical terms we call it as a 200-day moving average breakout, that could happen if the stock crosses 156 level. I believe it should happen in the next 1 week odd. So that L&T Finance could be an interesting buy at current levels, and especially on the breakout of 200 DMA. Targets could be kept at 160 and stop loss from current levels at 147.
Okay, 3.9% higher for an L&T Finance. Meantime, on Deal Street, it's official. Capital First and IDFC are now going to be forming a new entity called IDFC First Bank. Karunya?
That's right. In fact, that's the reason why both of these stocks are in focus. Capital First, rather, is in focus. They've announced that they've got all the necessary approvals for the merger last evening, and the combined entity, which will be known as IDFC First, will be about 1.02 lakh crore in terms of loan book. The merged entity will also serve about 7.2 million customers. They have 203 branches, 129 ATMs, 454 rural correspondent centers across the country's urban as well as rural landscape. Now, talking about the management situation and the leadership positions at the company, it will be V. Vaidyanathan, who is the founder and chairman of Capital First, who will be heading this merged entity. He will be the MD and CEO of the company. Whereas on the other hand, Rajiv Lal, who is the founder MD of IDFC, he will be appointed as the part-time non-executive chairman of IDFC First Bank.
All right, and both these stocks are buzzing away today in trade, more than 2.5% of gains coming in. Vivek, can't say that about Reliance Communications. Some negative news over there.
Well, that's right. So the spectrum trading deal that Reliance Communication had actually gone ahead and done with Reliance Jio, this is something that is under the radar. The Department of Telecommunication has said that this particular deal cannot happen now, and it's gone ahead and rejected this particular deal. The main reason for that is that the debt on the books of the spectrum, which was being owed by Reliance Communication, is now under doubt, and there has been some amount of fight as to who would actually go ahead and clear the debt. Since there is a lot of lack of clarity over there, the Department of Telecommunication has actually gone ahead and rejected this particular deal.
7% lower for RCom. Meantime, another fact that's buzzing is Realty, and Siddharth, DLF there is taking charge.
Absolutely, and we are seeing stock doing pretty well for itself. 180 to 183 moving now was a resistance zone, and that resistance has been breached substantially today. 5% up for DLF. Now this is also backed by very strong volumes in both these segments and also long formation. So both from technical as well as from derivatives perspective, stock has given positive indications.
Okay, so DLF is a stock in focus at day's high as we speak. Rajesh, IRB Infra too is seeing significant momentum. What is your strategy here?
Yeah, if you look at the structure of the IRB Infra, it has managed to give the 8 weeks consolidation breakout on the weekly chart, and stock is now very well placed above 50-day simple moving average, and stock is now crossing its 100-day moving average. Looking at the pattern, I feel that stock will continue its upward momentum towards 175 to 180 kind of zone. So my advice would be one should hold the position, and one can even buy at the current level also with stop loss of 152 for upside target of 180.
Okay, 3.5% higher for an IRB Infra. Another interesting stock move is Century Ply. This is after CLSA has said that they continue to remain positive on the company. They have a buy with a target at 210 rupees. They do, however, flag off the fact that there is oversupply of MDF or medium density fiberboard in India, which will perhaps continue to remain a key overhang on the stock as well. But better utilization in the MDF business, as well as the fact that crude prices have corrected quite a bit, should aid the near-term margins, and hence you are seeing that decent uptick come by in the stock price of Century Plyboard, 2% higher at 181. Jumar Infra saw a sharp spike yesterday in the last hour of trade. That seems to be continuing today. Karanya, what's the news?
Well, the news is that they've bagged a large contract from the NHAI. This is for a project that's going on at the Dwarka Expressway, which is situated in the outskirts of New Delhi. And do remember, this is a JV company with Jumar Infra and another company called JM Matre Infra Private Limited. Both of them combined have received the order. The quantum of the order is fairly large, 1,350 crores almost is what they will receive on the completion of this project. And it's only for a part of the Dwarka Expressway. Do remember, from an intersection called Shiv Murti intersection till Rail Underbridge, which is situated in Dwarka sector 21. So it's just a part of the entire expressway that they've bagged an order for.
Okay, we also caught up with the MD Nalin Gupta first on ET. Now listen to what he had to say.
It's a good order for us, and this is a order for an elevated corridor for Dwarka Expressway of NHAI, and it's an EPC contract taking our order book to 11,000 crore, and the approximate timeline that in which we are expecting to complete this job would be 3 years. The order book with this order would be close to 11,000 crores, and we look forward that with the execution for up to with the Q4 as well, we should be able to remain again at 11,000 crore. Even with the increased size in the top line, we will be able to maintain our profitability in the similar margins of 17 to 18% EBITDA.
Okay, well, moving on, Vivek, Wellspun Enterprises, and why is this one in the news?
Well, the company has actually gone ahead and divested its entire stake in the India Infrastructure Fund 2 that it had, and this particular asset was the Devas-Bhopal road corridor. Remember, the company had put in a fund infusion of almost 85 crore a couple of years ago, and now it's gone ahead and netted almost 2.5 times what it had initially invested. So overall, it's a positive news given the fact that the company has made a significant amount of return in this particular asset.
All right, moving on, Siddharth, Bata India has found itself at a lifetime high.
Well, Nifty Mid-Cap 50 Index is almost 15 to 20% away from its all-time high. Bata India today moves above its previous swing high and is at all-time high. That clearly says, Mubina, that what kind of strength this stock has. Now, time and again we have been talking about this stock, that how there is formation of long position, and even at these elevated levels, there are takers in market who are believing that Bata India would move up from current levels, and you are seeing long formation in future segment. Needless to mention that volumes at these all-time high levels are pretty substantial.
All right, so that's Bata India for you. Another 2% uptick today in trade. Moving on, Kunal, even Siemens is seeing a lot of pricing action today.
So it's not just the price breakout, but I believe it's the 200-day moving average breakout for Siemens, which I believe is something noteworthy to take. Look at the volumes in the last 4-5 months for the stock price. It built a base at that 880 mark to 980 zone, consolidated for almost the last 3-4 months, and now it's on the verge of starting a new uptrend. So the ingredients in terms of volumes, indicators and price all suggest that this stock could be a very strong positional bet. 1100 is a target which I'm eyeing on a positional basis for Siemens, stop loss at 950.
All right, very quickly then, India Bulls Realty, that's the stock in focus. In fact, the entire group is in focus. India Bulls Housing is one of the top Nifty gainers. India Bulls Realty as well is gaining, and how 9% higher today. We did have the news with respect to a restructuring that the company was undertaking. The company has said that they're going to demerge India Land and Properties from India Bulls Infrastructure, which is a subsidiary of the company. And this demerger would essentially facilitate the divestment of the Chennai assets that has been controlled by Blackstone. So a way forward for for that transaction to go by, and you are seeing the stock price higher by a neat 9.4%. If I'm not mistaken, it is in fact at the day's high. India Bulls, the entire pack itself has been buzzing, and how today in trade. Moving on, Karanya, Biocon continues to be a newsmaker. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that biosimilar trastuzumab has got an approval in the European Union market. It's for a drug called Ogivri, which is a biosimilar, not a drug, I'm sorry, trastuzumab, which is jointly developed by both Biocon as well as Mylan. So, on back of this approval for the European market is why the stock continues to be in focus.
All right. Well, let's just take a breather right here on Market Fatafat. Come back, we'll continue with the countdown. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat. We are continuing with the countdown of the top stocks you need to keep your eye out on today. And Vivek, we did have some news with respect to TV channels and the payment that has been set, the MRP rather, that has been set for these. What's the impact on media companies?
Well, Mubina, in fact, what's actually happened is that the TRAI has actually said that there will not be any extension in terms of channels offering a la carte, and what is actually going to happen at this point of time is that all the channels that you are now subscribing to would have an individual rate that will be affixed to them in case they are not a free-to-air channel. And in that case, most of the companies have a look at Dish TV, Sun TV as well as Zee Entertainment. All of them will be impacted given the fact that all of them also provide MSO operational services. On the back of that, Dish TV today up almost 4.5% in the session today.
And is rallying today in trade 4% higher. Moving on, Siddharth, what are your observations for TVS Motors?
Well, it's trading around its 200 DMA, and Kunal just mentioned that this level can act either support or resistance. Right now it is acting as resistance, and you can see on your screen that intraday there has been some correction from higher levels. There is significant built up in future segment, but I don't want to comment whether this is long or short because stock is taking resistance around its 200 DMA. So watch out for that level, which is somewhere around this 583, 585 mark, and if it moves decisively above that, then you may see a decent move in TVS Motors. So keep eye on this stock.
Okay, that's TVS Motors for you. Just a bit quietish today in trade, and after coming off the day's high, it's now at the level that it was at in the open of the market. Reliance Industries, Rajesh, what is the strategy you're recommending?
Yeah, if you look at the structure of Reliance Industries, since last 2 months, the stock has taken the support from the 200-day moving average, and it has formed a base around those levels. So 1050 kind of level is a strong base for the stock. And looking at the daily chart, stock is moving in a higher top, higher bottom formation and moving in upsloping channel. So looking at the pattern, I feel that stock should continue its upward momentum towards 1170, 1180 kind of zone. So even any decline is buying opportunity in the stock. One can keep a stop loss of 1100 for upside target of 1170 to 1190.
All right, that's Reliance Industries for you. Keeping the story, however, with crude sensitives, paint companies naturally are going to stand to benefit. In fact, Asian Paints, apart from India Bulls Housing Finance, is one of your top nifty gainers. And this is on account of the massive drop witnessed in Brent prices overnight of 5%. Berger Paints as well is something we are flagging off in the same light. Do remember that close to 40% of the raw materials consumed by crude companies like Berger does come from crude and its derivatives, and hence naturally any drop in crude prices is more than welcome for these paint companies, which have had to take their own share of price hikes and pass it on to customers on account of the recent rally that we witnessed to $86 per barrel. So any fall in crude prices would definitely bode well for paint companies like Berger. Karanya, some news coming in on Midhani, and we are seeing the stock price spiking on the back of that.
That's right. It's a stock which was quite tempered in trade today. I mean, very subtle moves were being seen, but yes, the spike up is on back of a development which the company has informed the bourses about. They have actually finalized an order worth 600 crore rupees, and they are likely to be signing the contract for it very shortly. At this point of time, this is all the information that they have given to the exchanges. We don't know from whom they have received the contract and for what purpose exactly. So we'll have to wait and watch for more updates as well.
All right, moving on. Vivek, PVR fundraising plans there?
Well, that's right. Very interesting timing for the company to actually go ahead and announce a fundraising, given the fact that they just completed the acquisition of SPA Cinemas in South India. However, the company has said that board meeting is being held on December 21st, and they're going to go ahead and mull the fundraising. Details of the fundraising and how much they're looking to raise is still awaited.
All right, so just a third of a percent lower for PVR. CanFin Home, Siddharth, we are seeing NBFCs just post quite a rally today in trade. This is one of them.
Well, RBI OMO operations are underway, and we saw that they have increased it by 100 billion rupees, and that's having a rub-off effect on most of the NBFCs in a thought because of people anticipating that the liquidity scenario would improve, and this will continue till March, Mubina. So that's the reason you are seeing most of the stocks doing well. 285 is the resistance which is getting challenged, for CanFin Home Finance. And as we speak, stock has moved above that level, and volumes are very high in both the segments. Yes, there is formation of long position, but not very huge. Keep eye on the stock.
Okay, yes, the RBI OMO operations certainly are a booster shot for all of these NBFC names today in trade. Kunal, India Cements, what is the observation on the way the stock's moving today?
So a double bottom pattern breakout on the weekly charts, your bullish flag pattern on the daily charts, and today we're seeing a price volume breakout. So in all fronts, weekly, daily, as well as on short-term charts, the stock is showing, a great surge of momentum, and this should continue, given the fact that it's a price volume breakout today. Buy targets of 105, stop loss 94.
All right, that's India Cements 5% higher, making its way towards the 100 rupee mark in trade. Adani Enterprises, there's an update coming in on its huge, ambitious project in Australia. That's the Carmichael coal mine. Do remember, it was the topic of a lot of controversy, especially with respect to environmental norms. Now it looks like reports are suggesting that the project is close to breaking ground. We have had officials from the Australian government talk about the project expected to taking off early next year. It's a key trigger as well for the Adani Enterprises. They have had to scale back on the expanse and the size of this project on account of protests from environmental activists saying that it could perhaps have, it could be detrimental to the area surrounding the project. But now with this taking off, we are seeing signs of uptick come by on an Adani Enterprises. Karanya, the government's divestment drive continuing. NTPC this time is on their radar.
That's right. According to reports, they're looking to sell about 3 to 5% stake in NTPC very soon, and they're likely to garner an amount somewhere between 3,500 to 6,000 crore with this stake sale. So this is an important update that we're picking up from reports. And what more is that the company is also, in other news, planning to set up the country's largest floating solar panel with a capacity of 120 megawatt. This will be in their Ramagundam unit, which is located in Telangana. So on back of these two news, watch out for the stock in trade.
TPC, that's the stock in focus. Moving on quickly, Vivek, Strides Pharma, what's the news here?
Well, it's an important update, it's an important development as far as Strides Pharma is concerned. The company, as early as 4 years ago, had gone ahead and sold one of its units called as Agila. And what actually happened was that the company was locked in a legal dispute with the innovator in terms of actually getting the payment release. Today, finally, after a long time, the company has got almost $42 million US, and it's going to get it immediately. On the back of that, Strides Pharma is a positive development, given the fact that the company actually has won the court case.
All right, let's move on. Siddharth, Tata Elxsi continues to be on your radar. Why is that?
Well, for all the wrong reasons actually, because IT stocks are correcting, be it Tata Elxsi or Infosys. We are seeing these stocks under pressure. Tata Elxsi, Mubina, is in a range, 950 on the lower side, 1050 on the higher side. Taking resistance on the higher side of the range, the stock is moving towards its lower side with formation of short positions. So underperformance by IT and Tata Elxsi.
1.7% lower for a Tata Elxsi. Rajesh, moving on, India Bulls Housing, can't help but flag this one off. It's the top nifty gainer. What's the strategy?
Yeah, if you look at the recent past, stock was quite volatile in recent past, but after consolidation, stock managed to give breakout of 800 level. So looking at the breakout, the near-term bottom has been confirmed by this breakout. So I feel that stock should continue its upward momentum towards 880 kind of zone. So one can hold the position even at the current juncture. Also, one can buy also the stock with a stop loss of 800 for upside target of 880.
Okay. India Bulls Housing, 828 rupees. But unfortunately, we'll have to call it wraps in this edition of Market Fatafat at stock number 26. Thanks to all of you for joining in. Rajesh, to you as well for giving us your strategy on individual stocks. Markets at noon comes up after this very short break. Stay tuned.